I'm positive I look very awful in this light and at this late hour, but I just had this little message I wanted to share. I'm not a social person, and I tend to make plans. If I manage to make plans, I tend to cancel them because I get scared that nobody will like me. I get nervous. It's a whole thing. I cancel them. However, if I already agree to pay beforehand, like I did today, for example, it kind of forces you to go. What I mean by that is, where I study, every department has this kind of organization that just organizes kind of activities for the group. I've been at the introductory weekend because I forced myself to sign up there, so I would get out of the pattern of avoiding life. So far, I haven't really yet taken part in any events except for today, because today we went to Europa Park, which is this adventure park in Germany, and our organization, basically together with a few other departments, organized this trip with a bus, and then we drove there, and then we had a fun time there, and then we came back, and it was a fun thing. But I'd be lying if I'd say that I hadn't been contemplating canceling all of last 2 days. Just because I was like, oh no, I don't feel like getting up early in the morning. I don't feel like needing to face the outside. You kind of get the idea. But I'm really happy I went. And I feel like somewhat the only reason I actually went in the end was because when you sign up to one of those things, you're forced to pay regardless if you come or not. Like, when you sign up, you basically agree to pay. It wasn't that cheap, and now I need to go, which is kind of a bit annoying, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy about it because it forces me to get out of my comfort zone. And that kind of brings me to what I wanted to say today, was that I find often people are like, you should only do what you're comfortable with. I listen to a lot of podcasts, as one does, because I don't really like silence. So I just always have a podcast going. One half of the people are talking about how to say no, how to stick up for yourself, like when to say no, you're allowed to defend yourself. And then the other half is talking about how to say yes, how to push yourself more to say yes. And I feel like while those two are very opposite things, they also apply to very different situations. And I think the fine line is figuring out which situation is which. And I find that can be very difficult because sometimes you're like, oh, well, I'm allowed to say no in times when you're supposed to say yes, like I was tempted to do today. But then like the other scenarios where you feel obligated to say yes when you actually feel like no would be the right answer. And it's a bit of a hard line to toe. And I feel like the deciding criteria in the end should be is really to see the benefits for yourself. Which sounds a bit egotistical, but in the end, I feel like that's where both parties have a win-win situation in the end, because if you're drained, you're not really fun to be around anyways. If you really say yes to a situation where you want to say no to, it's not going to be fun anyhow. But if you say yes to a situation where you're feeling tempted to say no just because it's uncomfortable, but like because of yourself and not because of like the outside circumstance, if that makes sense. So it's more your own hurdle than the external hurdle. I think those are the moments where it's good to sometimes push yourself. I don't know if this makes any sense. It's also very late, and I don't trust myself to actually post this video in the end. But I hope I kind of brought my point across and you understand what I mean. And if not, I'm sure you're not the only one who doesn't understand what I'm talking about. It was just something that occurred to me today that I thought would be interesting to share. But yeah, have a good week. Bye.